Oh, good morning. Today we're going to need at least one block at the end of practice, and if by happenstance you have 3 blocks, that's going to be another option as well. So one block is pretty necessary. If you have the ability to have 3 blocks, that would be even more ideal. And as we get along, you'll understand. But for the majority of the practice, you're not going to need blocks. So it's not a deal breaker. It's just the very end of practice. You'll see where they'll come in handy. So we're going to go ahead and start on our backs today. You can bend the knees and knock the knees together and walk the feet apart a bit. If you feel like you want to start with Baddha Konasana, feet together, knees wide, you can also do that. But this is a space where we're relaxing and allowing the body just to settle in. And that we find a sense of peace and ease and calm. So our practice today is in line with the chakra series. This is our final chakra, the 7th chakra, which is called Sahasrara. And its icon is a 1,000-petaled lotus blossom at the crown of the head. It's located in the top of the head, right when we're born, where our soft spot is. And this is about full awareness and awakening. There is no sound for this chakra, it's silence. And it can be also described as the color white or the color violet. And we're working towards a deeper understanding of headstand today. That we're going to use some alignment throughout majority of the practice, and at the end, that's where we'll come with the blocks towards a wall and set ourselves up really safely to understand headstand, especially when we don't have an instructor's eyes on us in a classroom setting. So first and foremost, notice your neck and allow it to be soft. So you might even pick the head up just slightly and kind of scoot the head back a little bit to create a little more length in the back of the neck. As you rest here, I want you to also notice that the neck spine is not touching the floor. And if it is, just gently feel that the neck spine has a little arch in it, just like your low back has an arch in it. These are known as lordotic curves. And then you'll notice that your rib cage and your mid back touch the floor pretty heavily because that part of your spine curves the opposite way. It's called a kyphotic curve. And when we're weight bearing, our spine is set ideally to bear weight when there's the 2 curves of the lumbar and the neck spine moving into our body. And when the kyphotic curve of the rib cage is moving away from the body. So I want you just to identify that now, because when we're on our head, we also want this same arrangement. There's a little tiny curve in the neck, little tiny curve in the back, and then there's this sort of straighter, more stable part of us that we're able to also tap into and elongate. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, soften, and again, just sort of evaluate the curves of the spine. Notice if there's any tension around the back and give yourself permission here just to relax in. Notice the tongue. Let the tip of the tongue touch the roof of your mouth. Let the rest of your tongue soften down. And take one more breath here, just establishing this soft space. And then take your arms overhead on your next inhale. Reach through your arms. You can feel your shoulder blades slide up to your ears a little bit. And then straighten your legs one at a time. Reach your tailbone underneath you. And then tone your belly ever so slightly that you feel the low back get a little closer to the floor. So it's not gripping and tensing. We're just gently hugging in and moving the sides of the waist into the floor. Just get a little closer. And then interlace your fingers and bring your hands to the top of your head. Zip your legs together. Press your toes away from you so you feel the legs toning and squeezing in. You feel the tone in the belly, and I've interlaced my hands and I've placed my hands on top of my head. And now I want you just to gently push your hands into your head as you reach your feet away from your hands. Slide your shoulder blades down your back. And just take a moment here. Feel that you're able to push from the palate. If you went with your tongue, the palate of your mouth up there is going to reverberate up into your hands so that you feel some integrity, some lengthening, but also you're stretching your legs away from you. Feel your front ribs gently pull towards your front hip points, and you're just toning the belly. Good. Keep that. See if you can create a little more awareness and as much length along the spine as you can as you reach the legs and you push your head into your hands. Good. Now gently lift your head up, take your hands behind the head, interlace the hands. You made a little pillow for yourself. Pull the elbows towards each other. And then gently, again, find that little awareness of reaching your legs, zipping them together. Pull your front ribs towards your hip points. And the head is just resting in the hands, but you also feel as though you're able to push your head into that imaginary supportive when we had the hand on the head just a moment ago. So we still have a little bit of length, a little bit of reaching. And what I want you to understand is that the palate of the mouth can reach and extend and help find space in the neck and the head today. So we learn to extend from palate, that place, all the way up into the crown of the head, get a little longer. You could even pull your hands on the back of the head and traction the neck here. Relax your shoulders. So shoulder blades are going to slide down and press flat into the floor. Take one more breath. Good. Now, keeping a sense of that length, we're going to float the head up just slightly. Keep pulling your hip points into the rib points, front of the ribs, and ribs into hips. And then you're going to float the right foot. Good. And then switch in the air to the left and to the right. Notice your low back. Try to keep it long. And your head is resting back into your hands, but it's also lengthening. Reach through your legs. We just have 10 more seconds. We want to wake up the belly. Think of pulling the belly back towards the spine for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Relax the head down. Take your arms by your side. Bend your knees. Place your feet on the floor about hip distance apart. And now turn your palms up. Push down into the back of your head and pick your shoulder blades up off the floor as your head stays heavy, and you're going to wiggle your left shoulder blade under you deeper, wiggle your right shoulder blade under. So squeeze the shoulder blades together, keep pushing into the back of the skull, and now lift the pelvis up. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, palms up. And now reach your hands towards your feet. So there's a little bit of sliding of the shoulder blades towards your pelvis. Back of the head heavy. Take a deep breath in. Exhale completely. Good. Unwiggle your shoulder blades. Lower down. Hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little rock side to side. Good. And then take your elbows out like cactus. Keep the back of the head heavy and take both knees over to the right and twist. But go slow. You might want to block underneath the right knee or in between the knees. Keep the back of the head heavy. Keep extending through the back of the neck as well. And just take a breath here. Inhale. Exhale in a way that you're softening through the belly, through the rib cage. Breath. Squeeze the knees together. Come back to center. Keep the back of the head heavy and take the knees to your left. Back of the head heavy. Just notice the right shoulder blade. Mine would like to float up today. Keep dropping awareness into the right shoulder blade and the back of the head. Finding a sense of ease as you deepen your breath here. And then bring your knees back to center. Inhale. Bring your forehead towards your knees. Exhale. Good. And then roll up to sitting and make your way back to tabletop. So wrists right underneath the shoulders. Spread the fingers, pull the shoulder blades. First, let's do this. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Tuck your tailbone and then pull your shoulder blades down your back. Tone your belly. And now float your right hand forward. Hug in around the sides of the waist and get longer. And then nice and slow, stretch your left leg behind you. Lift your inner thigh up and float the leg. Try not to pitch in the low back. Press through the crown of the head. Reach and lengthen. Take one more inhale. Exhale. Good. Place the right hand down. Tuck your right foot toes. Three-legged dog. Bend your knee. Open your hip. Drop your head. Take another breath here. And then straighten your legs, square your hips, lower your left foot down. Bring your knees down nice and slow. Again, set the shoulders. So we're going to melt the heart towards the floor. And then we're going to pull the shoulder blades down, tone the belly, and lengthen through the center of the spine. And then left arm reaches. Hug in. Take the right leg back. Extend the right leg. So you have to reach through the legs and then float the leg. And this reaching through the legs is going to be important as we start to play with headstand, because oftentimes our head goes down and our legs sort of lose their mind. And we have a hard time taking that extension component in the lower body. So here, we're just waking up the legs and concentrating on this extension from the crown of the head to the front of the room and from your pelvis out into your straight leg. Energize it. Now take your left hand down and then three-legged dog. Keep extending your right leg. Keep your mind in your right leg. Reaching for the sky up there. Take another breath. Bend and open. And then straighten and square. Inhale and exhale. Float the foot down. Come forward to plank. Inhale. Turn the chest forward. Push through the crown of the head. Chaturanga. Cobra. Inhale, curl up, gaze down the cheeks, shoulder blades together and pull them down. Lower back down. Good. Two more. Kneecaps up. Notice what your feet are doing. Notice what your legs are doing. Exhale. Good. One more time. Inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together, pull them down, and lower. Good. Take your right arm out to the right. Come onto your fingertips. Bend your left knee. Your left hand is still by your side. You're going to push into your left hand and come on up. You're going to keep the head up for this. Lift your right shoulder away from the floor and pull the right shoulder blade down the back. Take a breath. Exhale. Good. Come back to center. Slide your right hand back in. Take your left arm out. You're going to tent the fingers. Bend your right knee. Push into your finger pads and start to roll over onto your left hip. Good. Float the head, draw the throat back, lift the left shoulder away from the floor, and feel the left shoulder blade pulling down towards your left pelvis. Little micro bend in the left elbow. Take a breath. Stretch the pecs. Come back. Come into cobra again. Inhale, curl up. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and lower. Good. Take your arms, nails down. Pick the head of the arm bones up and then float the forehead. Maybe float the legs. Inhale, inner thighs lift, stretch your legs away from you, and exhale, lower. Inhale, floating up. Exhale, lower. One more time, pubic bone heavy. Push your fingernails down, lift your shoulder blades up, squeeze them together, and reach through your fingers and lower. Take your hands next to you. Push to tabletop or plank. Inhale. Downward facing dog. Exhale. Walk or hop to the top of your mat. Inhaling. Spread your toes, deep forward bend. Halfway lift, inhale. And fold again, exhale. Rise to stand, inhale, touch the sky. And then interlace your fingers and bring your hands to the top of your head. So we're going to shrug our shoulders up like saying, I don't know. And when you did that, I want you to also kind of feel the shoulder blades, how they lifted up. And now we're going to press the hands down, push the head up, and slide the shoulder blades down. And all at the same time, we want the top of the throat back. So do that again. Lift, throat back. Good. And now push the head, but drop the shoulders. Good. Relaxing the mouth. Do it again. Inhale. Exhale, throat back, shoulder blades down. Good. One more time. And just start to notice that you're able to push into the head, into the hands, and that there really is this extension capability of the head here. Keep that extension. Take your arms up to the sky. Inhale. And even as you fold here, reach through the crown of the head. Exhale. Halfway lift. Inhale. Press through the crown of the head. Exhale to fold. Step to plank. Inhale. And as though I had my hand on your head, push forward through the head. Chaturanga. Exhale. Cobra or up dog. Be mindful of the shoulder blades. Squeeze them together and drag them down. Downward facing dog. Exhale. Spread your fingers and your toes. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Lift high onto tippy toes. Exhale, bend your knees, gaze forward. Walk or hop to the top of your mat. And deep forward bend. So here, as you come up halfway, press the crown of the head forward as the shoulder blades move back and fold. Rise to stand. Inhale, reach to the crown of the head, push down through your feet, and exhale, fold again. Halfway lift. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Step back to plank. Inhale. Push through the crown of the head. Strong arms. Chaturanga. Lower slowly. Cobra or up dog. Inhale. Downward facing dog. Exhale. Good. Think of, even in down dog, that you're elongating through the crown of the head. And instead of just hanging and dangling the head, there's this little bit of extension that you're cultivating while you pull your shoulder blades into your back pockets. Lift high onto tippy toes. Inhale. Exhale, bend your knees, gaze forward. Step or float to the top. And deep forward bend. Extend the crown of the head down. Feet, inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, hands to heart. Good. Bring your big toes together, heels slightly apart. Bend your knees, Utkatasana. So touch the floor. So we get way down. Take your hands up and now interlace them above the head. Lift your shoulders. Exhale, pull the shoulder blades down, throat back, head into hands. Inhale, lift the shoulders, spread the floor with the feet. And exhale, shoulders down, throat back. One more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, slide the shoulders down. Good. Now keep that. Reach the arms up. Inhale. Exhale, keep reaching through the crown and dropping the tail. Tone the belly, hug in around the sides of the waist. Take a breath. And here, just find the extension up as you push down. Good. Slowly stand. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Good. Step back to plank. Inhale, and you can skip chaturanga at any time. Chaturanga, cobra or up dog, downward facing dog. Take your right leg to the sky. Exhale, bend your knee, open your hip, and then straighten and square. Inhale. Step your right foot towards your right thumb. Bend your front knee. Again, like you had your hand on your head, lengthen the spine, and exhale, straighten your front knee. Inhale, bend your front knee. Exhale, straighten your front knee. And blocks are helpful for this. Inhale, bend your front knee, reach your head, reach your left heel away from your head. And exhale, straighten. One more time. Inhale, bend. And exhale, straighten. Good. Bend your front knee and reach your arms all the way up to the sky. Press down through the pelvis, drop your tailbone, hug in around the sides of the waist. And then interlace your hands behind your head. Pull your elbows forward. And now from your elbow to your armpit, suction back. So elbows in, armpits back. Push the back of your head into your hands and then drag your hands up a little bit so you're lifting the skull as you drop the pelvis. Armpits back, elbows in. Evaluate the sides of the neck, front, sides, back. We want all the same length. Take one more breath. Armpits back, elbows in, front ribs down, and then reach the arms up. Inhale, exhale, hands to heart. Keep that length through the middle, hinge forward. Take your left elbow outside your right knee and twist. Right shoulder blade to spine. Widen your left rib cage. Push into your front heel, lengthen your back leg, and spin the belly. Take a breath. Get a little more length in the neck and the upper back, hugging around the belly to support the low spine. Energize your straight leg. Good. Untwist, turn sideways on your mat, toes out, heels in. Take the hands to the top of the head again. Interlace the fingers and come into horse stance. Bend the knees, widen the knees apart. Stretch your thigh bones away. Shrug your shoulders. Inhale. Exhale, drop your shoulders, lift your head, throat back. Inhale, shrug the shoulders. Exhale, drop the shoulders, throat back. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Release the hands now. Interlace the fingers behind you. Squeeze your shoulder blades together and slide them down. And then come halfway forward. And instead of rounding the spine, imagine you had a wall in front of you that you could push your head into. Tone the belly, squeeze the shoulder blades, pull them down towards your pelvis, and lengthen the crown of the head. Take one more breath. Exhale completely. Come on up. Inhale. Turn to the front of the mat. Warrior two. Heel to arch. Land. And then reverse your arms. Take your left hand to your right wrist and pull. Twist the pelvis and the right knee to the right. Spin your belly and your rib cage to the left. Take one more breath. Good. Half moon. Right hand comes to blocker floor. Left leg extends. And then even here, crown of the head reaches forward as this back leg punches behind you. Tone in around the sides of the waist. Maybe left arm reaches up. Breathe. Good. One more breath here. Take your left hand down, square your hips, and place your left foot next to your right, but go a little wide with the stance. Soften your knees. Take your hands to the back of your calves, fingers point down, and pull yourself together. Knees can be soft here. Inhale. Climb your rib cage down your thighs and let the head drip down. Take one more breath. Good. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, fold. Heel toe your feet together. Big toes touch, heels apart. Utkatasana. Reach your arms up. Interlace the hands along the head. Shrug the shoulders. Drop the shoulders, lift the head. So a lot of times what happens is that the chin juts forward. So throat back, skull lifts, and try to find this extension. So the palate, that part of the mouth, lifts up. I even feel like my eyebrows lift when I do that. Inhale, shrug. Exhale, pull the shoulders and dome the palate up. Now keep that, reach the arms. Inhale. Extend through the skull and drop the pelvis. Inhale, sides of the waist, knit in. Exhale. Slowly stand. Inhale. And fold. Exhale. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Step back to plank. Inhale. Lengthen forward through the crown of the head as you lower. Cobra or up dog. Inhale. And downward dog. Exhale. Left leg to the sky. Bend and open. Straighten and square. And step your left foot forward towards your left thumb. Inhale here, pause. Now feel the strength of your back leg. Reach it back. And then as opposition, pull the spine and press through the crown of the head. This will be our inhale. Exhale, slowly begin to straighten the front knee. Maybe use your blocks. Bend your front knee, extend your back leg, and reach your crown away from your back leg. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, bend. Get longer, 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 and exhale, straighten. Good. Bend just your front knee, ground your pelvis, push down, and inhale, reach the arms up. Back leg straightens, drop the tailbone, square the pelvis, hug in around the sides of the waist. Interlace the hands behind the skull and pull your elbows forward. Now, armpits go back. Push your head back and lift the back of the skull up. Straighten your back leg. Drop your pelvis. Tailbone underneath. And then as though if you had a third hand on top of your head, you're extending up. So we're not collapsing and condensing in the neck spine. There's this awareness of being able to extend through the skull, just like you can extend your arm. Our head is an appendage. Good, take another breath, and now reach your arms up. Knit in around the belly, reach through the arms, drop the pelvis. Good, one more breath. Exhale. Good, turn sideways on your mat, toes out, heels in. Interlace the fingers behind your back. Squeeze your shoulders, bend your knees, and widen. Throat back, head extends, good. Feel shoulder blades together and down. Throat back, crown of the head lifts, front ribs knit. Good, come halfway forward, lengthen. Good, and I forgot to twist on this side. Inhale. Exhale, we'll go a little out of order. We'll still get it in, don't you worry. Inhale, come on up. We're gonna come back to the top of the mat, spin back, readjust, and hands to heart. Good, so we have that through line. Hinge forward, spin, right elbow outside the left knee. Straighten your back leg, left shoulder blade to spine, right rib cage widens. Take a breath. Good. Undo, come all the way up, warrior two. Heel to arch and land. Reverse your arms. Bend the left knee, take your right hand to your left wrist and try to pull the rib cage up and away off the pelvis. Twist the lower body to the left, spin your rib cage to the right. Good. Half moon, come all the way over. And walk the back foot in, extend through the crown of the head, and take the right foot behind you. Left hand is 6 to 12 inches in front of the baby toe side of the foot. And if you had your hand on your head, you have this extension as the right leg extends back. Take one more breath. Both hands down, square the pelvis, and take your right foot towards the floor. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, fold. Take your hands behind the calves. Press forward with your hands into the calves, right where the top of the shin is, and then use that to sort of leverage yourself in a little deeper. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. A deep breath in, deep breath out. Good. Take your hands to the floor, step back, downward facing dog. Widen your shoulder skin, lengthen your neck. Reach the crown of your head as though you could become a giraffe and reach your head toward your thumbs. Keep your shoulder blades sliding towards the pelvis as you reach through the crown of the head. Take another breath. Good. Lower to your knees. And then interlace your fingers and bring the palms together. So when we come into this clasp, whether we're coming into dolphin or a headstand variation or anything at all, if our pinkies are crossed, one wrist will always be higher than the other. So if you can tuck one pinky inside, you can flatten, or you can make a little steeple with your pinkies. So you can kind of play with that. My pinkies are crooked, so I prefer to tuck one inside. But what we want to have is this ability to anchor down. So there's no sunlight underneath, and it's this karate chop, right? Kung Fu. Go ahead and do that. Push down. And as you push down, then you can lift your shoulders up and soften the shoulder blades together. So there's this definite strength and framework that we're setting up. And then nice and slow, we're just going to start to place the top of the head to the floor. Walk your knees in enough. And this is the lightest touch of the crown of your head. Good. And just notice, what are your shoulders doing? Widen them. How long is your neck? Could it be longer? And is the upper back rounding or flattening? And we want it to flatten. We don't want to round. We don't want to somersault. So we want to create this nice framework. So you could stay right here. Lightest touch of your head on the floor, maybe tuck your toes and come into like a dolphin shape with the body. So lower body goes into downward facing dog. And the head is just lightly touching. Your wrists are flat, no sunlight underneath. Pick your shoulders up. Make sure your elbows are a little closer than the shoulders and keep pushing down. Take another breath. And lower the knees down. Slide back to child's pose. That pose itself with very light pressure on the head is a great, great substitute and strength builder for headstand. So as we come to the wall in a moment, and if you, number one, don't have a wall, if you don't have the props that I suggested earlier, then that's a pose that you can come into and continue to work on holding and strengthening and fortifying the upper body and the neck. I generally don't teach headstand at the wall, but I do know it's nice to have some strategies and techniques. And so we're going to use the blocks at the wall to create a really safe entry point into headstand if you're not ready to do it in the middle of the room. Good. Come up again. Tuck your pinky under or find your little steeple. Press the outer wrists down. And then again, as you push down, you're solidifying the widening of the upper back. You're pulling the shoulder blades down the back, and then we lightly touch the head. Walk the knees in enough that it makes sense. You can tuck the toes, and then pick the pelvis up. You can widen your feet. You can walk. What we want is for the back to start to round and lean towards the hands. We want this uprightness. And then you can play with touching the head and letting a little pressure come into the head, shoulders away from the ears. And now pick the head up as high as you can off the floor. And then lightly tap and touch. Lift it up. lower it down. So this is another big strengthener that you can start to use to build the framework for a really safe headstand. Good. Take one more, and you can either hold or you're flossing up and down, and then walk back to tabletop and slide back to child's pose. Let your arms relax completely. Take a big breath in and out. And then nice and slow, come on up. We're going to take a moment to situate ourselves against the wall. I have to shift the camera because my wall here is sloped upwards. If you have props, take them with you to the wall. And I'm going to make a little adjustment. We'll put the short edge of our mat against the wall. And I'm just going to spin our camera here. That should do it. Awesome. Okay. So let's start with one block. If you don't have any blocks, you're going to do what we just did, flossing your head up and down. I think the hardest part of this is getting your elbows to the wall, so just be patient with yourself. You're going to take the block in between your hands. You're going to face the wall, and it's like you're praying to the block. And then you'll take your block and place it in that middle upper back. Elbows are in. And then this is where it gets a little tricky. It's a bit of core work. We need to bring our elbows to the wall. And then we need to bring the block to the wall. My head is barely touching. Separate the knees and feet. Start to lift the pelvis and try to walk your upper back into the wall and into the block. The block needs to be flat. So once you get your elbows down, your next option or the next step is to get the block flat. Yeah, very good. And then lift the pelvis. You can feel that as you squeeze the block, pull your elbows in, and that little bitty suck your armpits back when we were standing up and I had your hands behind your head. Try to suck your armpits back here a little bit. Head is floating or lightly touching. You can separate the feet, walk the feet in, bend the knees, and give yourself as much push through your legs into your upper back. This is a really wonderful upper back opener. This is also a really great place that is more sustainable to stay, oftentimes than trying to get into headstand. So the benefit of inversions comes from longer holding patterns. And even being on the knees and having the head down is still an inversion. So giving yourself some time here, push into your elbows, squeeze the block with your hands, suck the armpits back. Let's take just a couple more breaths here. So if you only have one block, this is going to be where you return to. Take your last breath, nice and easy through the breath, even though there's a lot of work going on in the upper body. And then start to make your way back. Slide your bum back to your heels and child's pose, releasing your block. Take a breath. Good. And then nice and slow, come on up. And we're lucky enough to be at the studio and we have extra props. And so this is a 3-block setup. It might be something where you're like, I really like this, and it might be worth purchasing some extra blocks. So the way that this goes is you take one block on the highest setting, and it's the thin setting that's facing you. It's not at the wall. It's going to be a little bit away from the wall. And then you're going to take the other two blocks and stack them flat against each other. And then you're going to set them on top of this block. Now, the two flat blocks need to be touching the wall. All three blocks should have this same alignment here. So if you ran your hand up and down the front of it, there you can't really tell the difference. Okay, so there is a gap between the bottom block and the wall, but there is not a gap between the two blocks at the top. Very nice. So this is going to set us up to safely come into some different variations of headstand. I'm going to demonstrate really quick a few options, and these are all stopping points. You can get off the bus at any time. Or you have other things you can work on. You can work on flossing the head without any props. You can work with praying with the block and bringing it to your upper back. Okay, so I'm going to interlace my hands around my blocks, and I'm holding my blocks, and I'm going to root my wrists down, right? We talked about that. So the blocks are there to provide me something to squeeze, and then I'm going to bring the back of my head to the blocks and lightly touch my head. Now, oftentimes what I see is this sort of shrinking in the neck. Push down into your elbows and your forearms and get the neck as long as you can. I'm literally pulling the block into the back of my head now. And now I'm lifting my head up, or lifting my bum up and staying here. And you can come 1 foot. You can alternate feet. Maybe pull 1 foot to the wall and hover the other, finding the wall here. And what this does is the blocks in my upper back are keeping my back really honest so it cannot round and fold. Generally, we don't have the upper body awareness or strength, and so headstand ends up looking kind of like this, and people fall over to the other side. So we want to take out the round in the back. We want that really strong integrity, and using the core, learning how to go upside down. So the legs, as you stretch them up, are necessary, right? So the stronger I make my legs, the easier it is for me to start to find that floating action. I don't want you to jump. Okay? No jumping. And you'll notice my blocks adjusted, like they kind of shifted around, and they will. So they don't need to stay perfect, but this is a really good, this is a great upper back opener, even if we're just getting one leg up at a time. So really good stuff. Make sure we're safe with the neck. So interlace the hands around your blocks and breathe, because it's yoga. I know. You got to have the proper hairdo for this as well. And so the top of the head is lightly touching. Squeeze your elbows in a little more, Robin. Good. And as you have your hands around the blocks, I've got my thumbs on the outside and my fingers around the back of it. You're pulling the block into the head. Good. And you're pushing the head back into the block. Good. Take your chin out of the chest. Good. And then you can start, your head might even be hovering just slightly. Good. Energize your legs. Good. Good. And with one leg up, Yeah, that thing we woke up earlier. Remember that stretching, head down. There you go. And you can give yourself a little bitty hop, but nothing crazy and dramatic, right? Not super big hops. There you go, Robin. That was good. Yeah, just little bitty hop. But think of stretching your leg up. The other thing you could do too is you could bend your top knee and see where is that wall? Where is that wall? Good. And then maybe bring your one foot off the wall, Angie, and just go straight up and hover, squeeze the legs together. Do you feel that? Yeah. Tailbone up. Good. So as you continue to reach and lengthen, and I'm going to just shift so folks can see kind of some options here. Yes, wonderful. And because I can, I'm going to put my mask on. Good yoga instructor. And I'm going to hold this leg up, and you're going to find the wall. Got it? Doing okay? And then take that guy to the wall too. Yep. Fabulous. Good, you guys. Wonderful. And so we just have some moments here. And again, the goal of inversions is to hold them for longer periods of time so we get our sacred substances in the body floating the opposite direction than what they ordinarily are. So at any point you start to fatigue and you feel the shape of the upper body being compromised, it's really important that you come down. So ideally, anywhere from starting with 5 to 10 breaths, and then working anywhere up from 1 to 2 to 5, and then maybe ultimately 10 minutes. Yeah. And then you only need to do one yoga pose a day. Child's pose when you're done. Let's give ourselves just a few more moments here just to get some benefits. And then take your time when you're ready. Come on down. Let your forehead drag back on your mat. Give your forehead a little traction. It's like you're going to leave a skid mark on your mat with your forehead. Relax your jaw. And headstand is actually a closing posture. It's a cooling posture. Go ahead and come on up. Even though it seems like it's quite a bit of work, take your fingers, go ahead and spin around, and you can face me. And I call this watching television pose because we had the floor TV when we were little. And you're going to take your index finger behind your ears and just hold your chin. Just affirm the curve in your neck. Because sometimes we get, overzealous or we get flattening in the neck. And remember, in the beginning, we talked about how there's a little inward curve of the neck. And we just want to reaffirm that here. Take an inhale and an exhale. Good. And then go ahead and take a seat, whether it's on your knees or your feet. Just a tiny bit of love for our neck. Take your right ear to your right shoulder, and your right hand is going to come to your left temple, and just gently pull. Relax your jaw. Change sides. Good. And then nice and slow, roll the head, either just semicircles at the front. If it's okay to let the head drop back, do that. And then circle the other way. Good. And then pause, come back to center, and just a twist. Right hand to left knee, left hand behind you. Feel the right shoulder blades slide to the spine, widen the left rib cage, and widen your left elbow to the left. And then come back to center. Walk forward any amount. Drop the head. Walk it back in. And change sides. Left shoulder blade is going to slide to the spine. Right rib cage widens. And even here, noticing we have this ability to lift the skull, which can unburden the neck throughout the day. Our head is like a bowling ball. It's this heavy unit that sits on top of these very delicate vertebrae. But our head is an appendage. And so just like we can reach through our arms and legs, we can reach through the crown of the head and let the neck spine have a little more space. Come back to center. Change the crossing of your legs and walk the hands forward. Any amount. Stretching the outer hips and low back just a bit. Take a big inhale, exhale. Decompress, decompress. Let your mind rest. And then walk your hands back in. We are right at the wall, so legs up at the wall for Shavasana might be a nice alternative. Otherwise, go ahead and extend your legs. And check in. If your body's like, oh, I need to do a happy baby before I can rest, take good care of yourself. And then release and relax and soften. Notice any tension through the eyes, the forehead. Just know that we created a practice today that we got a big flush of circulation and energy, and allow that circulation to begin to dissolve any and all tension, stress, doubt, worry. Feel the brain hydrated. And if you have a moment to stay a little longer, give that to yourself. If you need to finish within the hour that we have, finish with me. Go ahead and start to deepen your breath. Taking in the focus that you had today, taking in also the ability to shift our perspective, shifting our body against gravity, and allowing that ability to shift your perspective to stay with you as well. Make your way to your side and take your time to rise up to seated. We'll meet with our hands at our hearts. We offer a bow into this journey that we've been on for the last 7 weeks. May our practice help us awaken one petal at a time. May we bring higher consciousness into all that we do. Thank you for your practice today. Namaste.